guys, welcome to the Something About Tuesdays podcast. I'm your host, Phebe Joi. Join me every other Tuesday for a lighthearted podcast to keep you company while you do your thing. Hey guys, welcome back to Something About Tuesdays, episode 60. I'm your host, Phebe Joi, and hi, hey, and welcome. And okay, I get that this is a couple weeks late, but happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I thought about this after I had already released my episode. I was like, it was that Tuesday. I think that following Sunday was Father's Day. And I was like, I guess I could have said something, but then I wouldn't have been able to talk about Father's Day. So I am kind of glad I waited. But now it feels like Father's Day was so far behind. But anywho, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I feel like we definitely spend a lot more attention and time on moms on Mother's Day. Though I kind of think for a good reason. But fathers, they definitely need to have their day too. So happy Father's Day to them. Our Father's Day went pretty good. Hubs was out of town. He's actually been out of town for quite some time. He's back now, but he was out of town for quite a bit doing a class up in Boston. I know, Boston. I was like, I want to go. I want to hear the accents. But anywho, and so I got to spend or focus my Father's Day on my dad, and it was good. We made the choice, you guys. Okay, so on Mother's Day, which really I think on almost any holiday, people go out to eat. Especially if you, I think, go to church, and then after church, it's just easy to go out to eat, right? And so usually on those days, my mom is like, I don't want to go out to eat on those days because it's very busy, and that is so true. But for Father's Day, I think normally we cook out. My husband will do the cookout, but since he wasn't there, we didn't really plan in advance to have a cookout or anything. So we'll just go out to eat. You guys. So we chose to go to Texas Roadhouse, and let me just say that you want to talk about busy. Okay, anytime we go to Texas Roadhouse, I feel like it's always busy. There's always going to be a wait of some kind, 30 minutes or so, 30 minutes roughly, I think. So we get there, and I mean, the parking lot is like full and then beyond full. Like we've seen it full and beyond full. But I'm talking, it was full, beyond full, and then a little more full after that. So I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, like if we normally have to wait 30 minutes, like y'all, it's going to be an hour and a half. But we were like, let's go in, let's see what time they give us, and we'll decide after that. So we send in Evan, who's like an adopted younger brother for me. He goes in and he's like, hey, they said it'll be about 30, 40 minutes. I was like, perfect. Maybe they're getting people in and out quicker than expected. You know, there's going to be a big group of us. I think there was 8 of us. And so we were like, yeah, let's do this thing. Yeah, let's do this thing. So an hour in, we were like, maybe we should check on our seats and where we are and how far we are into this thing. So we send Evan in, you know, youngest of the bunch, send him in, and he checks, and they said, okay, we should be like the next group ready. Like they're just waiting on one group to leave the table. So like, great, sounds good. All right, like 20 minutes past that time when they said we should be next. We're like, okay, go check. So we sent in one of the ladies this time, because sometimes, you know, guys can do things, but sometimes they need a different face, right? You don't want the same person bugging everybody. So then they go and they're like, okay, you guys should be next. And I would say within the next 10 minutes we were. So it literally was an hour and a half later, if not even longer. I don't know exactly sure. I know it was at least an hour and 20 minutes. And it may have reached an hour and a half, but we made it. So we go in, and I mean, it's so busy. It's fine. We sat in this booth, and when I say like, first off, you're like a booth for 8 people, 8 people and a baby, y'all. It was tight, but we made it work, and it was good. Actually, it was actually pretty decent. Now I will say this. So our waitress, she was so sweet, so nice. Especially, she was just, I felt like she was a little overwhelmed with how busy it was. I could understand, right? But she kept the brightest attitude about everything. For example, like when she went to go get our drinks and stuff, and she brought back some drinks, and we ordered sweet tea, which, you guys, I have decided, I know, quick caveat, that I can't order sweet tea from like steakhouse places anymore, because they don't taste as good as they used to. I used to get sweet teas from like Roadhouse, from Aspen Creek, Longhorns, those steakhouse places. And those teas would be just almost as sweet as McDonald's. Never as sweet as McDonald's. Like, no one could beat McDonald's. Close second, McAllister's. But they would be pretty good. I would probably say the last 3 times I've ordered sweet tea from any type of like restaurant, sit-down restaurant, it just hasn't been that sweet and hasn't been that good. I don't know if they're like cutting back on the sugar for price reasons, but when we all took a sip of our sweet teas, it was literally unsweet. We were like, "Oop, we think you gave us the unsweet." So already we're kind of off to a rocky start, right? And then I had ordered my sweet tea with no ice, and she was like, "It comes out warm." I was like, "No, that's perfect. Like, I know it's a hot day and we're all crowded in here, but I prefer the sweet tea just without ice. I just don't need it." And she was like, "Okay, got it. Sweet tea, no ice." So she goes to take our unsweet teas back, and she brings back the sweet teas. And I was like, "Great." And they taste a little bit sweeter. She said, "Yeah, they added more sugar to something. I don't know." But mine still had ice in it, which was fine. I was like, "Okay." And then she was like, "Okay, anything else you guys need while we wait on the food?" I was like, could I have my sweet tea with no ice?" And I really wasn't, y'all, I wasn't trying to be that person. But at the same time, we waited an hour and a half. I mean, let me at least get on one, right? So then she was like, "Yes, yes, yes. Sweet tea, no ice, coming." Y'all, when I say she missed it, she came back at least 3 times after that, brought the food and everything, and I never did get that sweet tea with no ice until I think I did finally get it. I think we had gotten our food at the time, and the like, "Oh, I need this condiment, that condiment," and I was like, "And a sweet tea, no ice, please." And she's like, "Oh yes, first on my list, first in my mind." And like I said, so was it a little scattered? Yes. And did everybody kind of have a slight experience similar to that? Yes. But her attitude was just, she smiled through it all. Like, I had to, still leave a decent tip, because she was just like, I could tell when waiters and waitresses at least are annoyed by you saying the same thing over and over, though I feel like that's a contradiction, because if I'm saying it over and over, that just means you weren't listening the first time. I was like, but she just smiled through it all. Now, I'll admit it wasn't necessarily, I don't know. I think a positive attitude can definitely overrule some mistakes, is what I'm saying. And so she had a positive attitude about it all. And so even though it wasn't, say, my best waitressing experience, I would have to say it'd have to be this waiter we had. Ooh, where were we? Maybe it was Aspen Creek. It was this guy. No, it was Cracker Barrel. You guys, we had this one guy waiter. He was a rising star, so he had been there less than a year, and he was an excellent waiter. I mean, had the food, got things quickly. I mean, as quickly as he could. It seemed pretty quick. Remembered everything, did things that we didn't even have to tell him. He was fantastic. But anyway, so while this girl didn't seem quite on his level, her attitude was just so positive. And so I was like, okay, we can still, you're still awesome because of that. And so anyway, so that was that. And the other thing I wrote about our time there at the Roadhouse is, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but if I haven't, I'll throw it out there again. And that is, my mom is the only person I know who orders applesauce at a restaurant as a side. And I guess people do because they keep it as sides at restaurants. But yeah, it's like she has her steak, she got her mashed potatoes or her baked potato, and some applesauce. And I'm like, what the applesauce? Like, give me some green beans, some corn, something, some mac and cheese, but applesauce. And yeah, she ordered the applesauce there. And she also ordered it, I think, at Cracker Barrel as well. So tell me, if you are someone who orders applesauce, what's the appeal? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, applesauce is just, they probably get that out of a jar, which isn't bad per se, but it's just funny, like, to think of a side. I'm like, why do that? You could get some applesauce at home. That being said, I don't have any applesauce here, so maybe it is an outside treat or something. I don't know. But I always tease Mom. I'm like, Mom, who gets applesauce as a side? Like, nobody does that. But anywho, you guys, so that was our Father's Day dinner. We ended up being there for quite some time, you guys. I think we got there at like 1 something, and we left like 5. or like that was, y'all, I mean, just of course the waiting. And then once we got there, just because you're sitting down, I mean, you're getting your food right away, right? And then just sitting and then the eating. It was, I mean, it was nice. We weren't in a rush. We didn't have anywhere to go. We didn't have revival that night. So it was chill. It was fine, but it was very much like, wow, we just spent like 4 hours of our day here at this Texas Roadhouse. So anywho, yeah, so we had a good Father's Day, got Dad his gift. Like I said, my husband wasn't in town, and this was funny. So I was talking to him, and then I was like, when you get back in town or whatever, we'll go out and do something. And then like a couple days later, I was like, I don't know that, because I hadn't picked up a Father's Day card, you guys. I hadn't picked one up yet. And so I was like, I don't know that I don't know that they're still going to be out, because I was like, I have another week, before he gets home. He'll get home next week. And so y'all, I go out. When did I go out? Friday, I think. Friday or Saturday to look for a Father's Day card. And I knew I wouldn't find one. And so I already gave my husband a heads up. I was like, okay, look. I was like, I didn't pick up a Father's Day card before Father's Day or on Father's Day. So that means that they're pretty much gone when I went to go look for them. And so I was like, it will be a different card. So what I got him was this really nice thank you card. Like, thank you for being so thoughtful and caring. And I was like, and thank you for being a great father. I think you're a great dad. You're going to be a great dad. All the great dad things. But it was funny because it was just a thank you card. But I did write on there, Happy Father's Day. So that is a thing. Think about that in advance, you guys, y'all. Like, I think one day, and my mom, she's done this before, where she has showed me like a stash of like thank you cards, birthday cards, get well cards, whatever cards, in case you find yourself kind of in a jam and you're like, oop, I need a card. You kind of already have one. And while it may not feel as personalized, it's better than showing up with nothing. And so I think at some point I want to just I don't even know if this is a bad thing or not, but like buy a bunch of cards like Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthday that I just know I'm going to use every year, so I don't have to go shopping to buy one, right? Like, I don't know if that's just bad or really smart. It's either insensitive and unthoughtful, or it's super smart. And I'm thinking, if I read the card and it makes me think of someone, then it still is thoughtful, right? Like, just because it wasn't the day before or the week before doesn't mean it's not thoughtful. So I might need to do that and like start saving them. I do have a bunch of thank you cards that I have just in case someone does something and I want to give it to them. But y'all, I have been the type who I have written thank you cards to people and then literally never deliver them. Like, thank you for thinking of me that one day and reaching out, or for giving me a hug, or da-da-da-da-da. And I just never give it to them. And I don't know why. And yeah, or sometimes I have attempted to give it to someone, but I don't see them for like a week or two. And then I feel like, well, it's too late for me to give the card. And I know I'm going against my own advice, because if I was going to talk to me about it, I would say, still give it to them. Like, it's not like they forgot like the memory or the moment. Even if they did, maybe this will trigger something or jog something for them. And even if it doesn't, like, just other people's thoughts don't have to stop you from being thoughtful. You know what I mean? Like, or what you think other people would think about it doesn't have to stop you from doing something kind, such as giving a thank you card, even if it's like a month past when these people impacted you or in some way or whatever. But anywho, so definitely preaching to myself there. It kind of reminds me, y'all, of a book that I've started reading. And I meant to get into this later, but I might as well jump in now. So it's the summer. And I've started reading my books. I haven't gotten very far in any of them, but I've started at least the first either epilogue or chapter of like 4 of them. And so the 2, though, that seem to have, that I'm spending more time on is The Let Them Theory, Mel Robbins, and literally I'll reading just like either the first chapter or the first, like that prologue, and I'm already like saying let them in my head all the time. It's so far a great read. And like, I let y'all, I'm like a chapter in, but just the idea of let them, y'all, I'm telling you, and I think I mentioned it before, because I think when I bought the book, I had read like a synopsis on it or something, and it was just talking about, let them. If people don't want to invite you, let them not invite you. If people want to have fun without you, let them have fun without you. If people want to, like, if you do something and you're worried about people, let them think what they think. Let people do what they do. And but without it affecting you, right? Like you don't have to be in control of everyone and their feelings and their emotions. And that, y'all, so I haven't gotten deep into that yet, but she touched on that and I'm like, that is so me. I am such a person who's like, I want people around me to feel a certain way. And if I feel like they don't, I feel like it's my duty and my job to change that. If there is not peace or harmony, if there is not motivation, if they're like you guys, I know I'm like, was it why I don't know, it's just who I am. But so I think I'm starting to kind of like pick up on and learn this a little bit. It kind of reminds me back, I think it was last episode, maybe 2 ago, when I was talking about, worrying about pleasing God more than pleasing people. It kind of brings me back to focus of, because we always hear, and I want to, clarify this, like, you should care about other people, right? Like, and to an extent, you should care about what other people think because you want to present yourself in a good light and you want people to have good opinions of you, especially if you're trying to be a witness, or, in some way, or if you're a leader in some way or whatever. So you should care. But I would have to say, like, to an extent, right? Like to the point where it's good and positive and healthy. But once it becomes unhealthy, once like your fear of what other people think of you hinders you from doing what you should do or what you feel like God's calling you to do, or even just like something that you want to do, then that's when it becomes a little not as healthy, right? And that's when we have to tell ourselves, okay, they may not support me in this, but that's okay because they don't have to. That it's not their job to tell me what I can and can't do. Not in a bad way. Like I'm trying to definitely, like, I'm not trying to cross that line. And it's so funny because you can tell that we've been raised, in this mindset of like you want to please those around you, and you definitely do. But again, there is that balance, and I think that's why I think like things like what's this other book? Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, I think is what it was called. We have to almost be retaught boundaries and retaught how to say no and retaught to care so much about what other people think. Because I think maybe it's a spectrum. Like on one end, if we don't care what anybody thinks, then we just go around causing collateral damage and destroying things without caring about the consequences. And we don't want that, right? But then if we care too much about what people think, then we hinder ourselves. We give our own selves anxiety. We give power to people who don't deserve the power, all of that. And so it's that, depending where you are in the pendulum, kind of depends on what kind of work you need to do, right, to get more balanced. And so presently, I'm kind of swing my way back to like, okay, there are some things in life that other people can't have a say in, right? Like their opinions can't affect the actions that I take. And that's when I have to focus on what God, wants, or, how God wants to move my life and things like that, and not worry about the opinions and, thoughts of other people. And so that's kind of where I am on the pendulum, where you may be someone who like, maybe you need to be a little more sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others. I have no idea. But for me personally, that's where I am. And so this book, The Let Them Theory, I think is helping me with that. So the other book I started reading that was a recommendation from another podcast was called The Shepherd's Guide, I think, to Psalm 23. I think it was what it's called. I think so. But it's taking, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, that whole chapter. And it breaks it down from the perspective of someone who was literally a shepherd, and how it really emphasizes the love of God that he has for us. And so I just started that one. Once I get a little further into it, I'll probably have a little more to share about that. But I just started that, and it's pretty good so far, just the different concepts. And it, like I said, it breaks down each verse. I think it's going to break down the whole chapter, but each verse right now. And so I've only read the first 2 chapters, so I'm only in the first 2 verses. So let me get a little further in, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that book. And so, yeah, so those are the 2 that I've definitely dived into. I started The Anxious Generation, and like the prologue thing, it felt very kind of scientific-y, and I was like, okay, let me skim through this. But then when I got to kind of like the conclusion part of it, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And so I haven't jumped into actually reading the book, like reading chapter 1, just because it seems it might be a little more technical, but I'm still very interested in it, and I just haven't jumped in yet. So I don't have too much to comment on that. And the other book, the one that I think I forgot to say that I meant to say, was Learned Hopefulness. And I haven't even started that one, but that one I did get that I want to start reading. And if you've ever heard of learned helplessness, which is a concept in psychology, then learned hopefulness, I think is supposed to be kind of the opposite of that. We'll see. Like I said, I haven't started it, but it seems good. And if it's about learning how to be hopeful, I'm all about it, because me and hope don't always get along. I was going to say long story there, but if you've listened to my previous episodes way back, then you probably know where I'm coming from. But anywho, okay, so that was just a quick book segment. Look, I might have a book segment this summer because, like I said, I am diving into these books. That's my summer. That's part of my things to do in my stay-at-home summer is I'm going to read and become knowledgeable and enjoy books. So anyway, okay. So that was definitely a caveat because I wasn't quite done talking about fathers. Now I was pretty much finished talking about Father's Day, but I wanted to share you guys just a moment that my dad and I had, and that was, okay, when I was younger, believe it or not, my dad helped me a lot with my schoolwork. My mom did too, I'm sure. But there are two moments where I specifically remember my dad being, I guess, the one who just helped, right? And one of those times is my dad is the one who taught me how to tell time. And I remember he used to always point at the clock and help us, like, teach me how to tell time. And he did. I don't know how long it took. I don't know what started it. All I know is that my dad is the one who taught me how to tell time, right? and he took the time to do it. Like, it's just funny looking back, being like, oh my goodness, my dad just was like, here, we're gonna learn how to tell time. And then there was this other time when I wasn't doing good in fourth grade. I got an F, like, on a piece of paper, and like literally like a worksheet, I think, that I just got all wrong. And maybe it was a test, I don't really know. And my parents were like, that's never gonna happen again. I was like, okay. So for my next, we had in science, we had this quiz that was coming up, and it was gonna be all about elk. And so we had this packet that we had to fill out about elk, and we had to study it because we were gonna be tested on it. And I remember my dad taking the time to study that with me, and I literally memorized the entire packet. And he went over everyone for me. And I know part of my motivation, sure, I wanted to learn, do school, right? But a part of it was I was really enjoying spending that time with my dad. I was enjoying having him test me on my knowledge, because I've always liked to be tested on what I know. Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's try this. Like, let me see what I do now. And so I loved when he tested me. I loved when I could memorize the whole thing and tell it back to him verbatim, because he seemed so proud, and that motivated me. And then I'm telling you what, from that fourth grade time when dad showed me that I could memorize information and keep information in my head, that helped me with school from then on out. Like, no joke. I was like, oh, like, information I learned from school doesn't have to go in one ear and out the other. I can hold on to this information and pull it back up to apply it when needed. And I tell you what, like, that has helped change my life. Now, I'll admit, sometimes that means that part of my learning was memorization. I knew I could memorize for a test and be good. That doesn't mean I was learning, because if you're like me, then you might forget what you memorized, and then 2 weeks later you're like, now what did I learn? But it did show me that I could do something and I could excel in something, and so I appreciate my dad for that. So that's just, there are other moments in my life where dad has definitely showed up as a father and has helped change the trajectory of my life. And so I just wanted to throw that out there to anybody any experiences with dads, like, if we're thinking about your own father or your spouse or whatever, or your son or your brother or whomever, if they're a father, if they're ever not recognizing the value of who they are, just let them know that they are valuable, that their input in their children's life is valuable. I don't know if my dad thought twice about teaching me about time. I don't know if he thought twice about making sure I memorized that packet. I don't know if mom made him do it. I have no idea. But those are things that I hold on to. Those are memories with my dad that I'm like, yes, my dad cares, and he did that with me, right? And there's just been times where I'm like, okay, dad steps in when needed and can drastically change things. Now, moms are there, they're consistent, they're kind of that, go-to every day, but then my dad's always there to, like, step in right when needed, and that's great. And that, I think, is such a value to fathers out there, is you guys are great at I think you guys step in right when you need it. You're there all the time, not saying you're not. Sometimes it may be more subtle, but you guys are there. But there are some times that I think when you do step in, for those moments, man, it can really change the trajectory of your kid's life. And so I appreciate my dad. I love my dad. And that brings me to, I thought about that whole dad teaching me thing because way back when I was younger, we used to listen to Schoolhouse Rock. And I don't know if you've heard it. I think it was made in the 70s. I think. And then in the 90s when I was young trying to, learn stuff, my dad would play the songs, particularly from multiplication. And so what's so funny is like the last week of school, we were packing up our room, the ESL room or the ELD room, and one of the teachers came across a Schoolhouse Rock DVD and CD, and it had all the songs from Schoolhouse Rock, like all the social studies one and the math ones and everything. And so I was like, oh my goodness, I got to take this with me because I remember when I was a kid. And so when my dad came over, right before Father's Day, I was like, Dad, you've got to see this. And so I showed him the Schoolhouse Rock. And when I say reminisce for like an hour or so, we reminisce and listen to like every song, every multiplication song. And so for those of you who have experienced the best song, can you tell me the best multiplication song? Okay. Throw out which one you think it is, and then I'm going to tell you. Okay. The best one, you have to agree with me. The best one is fives. Ready? Right? When he's like, okay, kids, when he's talking about this old tree is going to be the base, right? And we're going to count by fives and something. Get set, ready, go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, ready or not. Here I come. You guys remember that? Do you guys remember that? Tell me you do. So that one, of course, is the best one. But we went back. The one that I remember, I don't remember any of the multiplication part of it, but I remember the figure 8 one. If you can skate a figure 8, you'd be great. Just something, it was funny. Anyway, but that one was the figure 8 one. And then 3 is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. I like that one. 4 was the 4-legged zoo. We went to a 4-legged zoo to visit our 4-footed friends. A lion, a tiger, something, and a sweet giraffe. So that was the 4. Let me see. 1, I don't think they had 1. 2 was the Noah's Ark one, but I can't remember that one. And then there was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I barely remember. 7 was Lucky 7 Samson. That was what was that? A rabbit. 8 was the figure 8 one. 9. Ooh, I don't remember 9. I don't even think there was a 10. And 11 and 12, I don't remember. So the best, of course, was 5, though, like hands down. And then there was the grammar ones, right? So then you've got, now this one, if you haven't heard the multiplication ones, you've at least probably heard the grammar ones, right? Like conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up words and making them sound right, or something like that. You guys remember that? That was conjunction, junction. And then lolly, 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 get your adverbs here. Let's see. I think nouns is the person, place, or thing. What was the other one? Oh, your adjectives. Simply unpack your adjectives. You can do it with adjectives. That's the one with the camping. I think that was the camping one. But anyway, so yes. And then we even went to, which if you have no idea what Schoolhouse Rock is, go look, okay? Go look and it will help you with figuring out, with learning things. It's very catchy. Honestly, I don't know if it helped you learn per se, so much as it's catchy, but I think it did help you learn. But anyway, so then there was the bill. I'm just a bill sitting here on Capitol Hill, right? So anyway, so Dad and I, look, we almost spent an hour doing that together. Dad and I, we did like an hour of that, looking into all those songs and just reminiscing, and that was fun. So Schoolhouse Rock, shout out to Schoolhouse Rock, and for being cool back then. I think the modern day now is, and I say now, maybe like 10 years ago, was vocabulary. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I remember using that when I was teaching. I think there were some free ones, but then you had to pay for it, so then I didn't use it as much. But that's kind of what it reminds me of, like songs to help you learn stuff. But anyway, you guys, so that was that. That was father, just, spending time with my dad. I do have to get him back on the podcast. I know I say that, but I do got to get him back. Okay, so then let's go into these last couple of weeks, because I've got just some lovely random notes on these last couple of weeks. The very first one is Cicadas. Cicadas. I don't know where you are, where you live. I don't know if you've had to deal with these nasty, terrible things called cicadas. Are they mean? No, they don't attack you. They bump into you sometimes. Are they? So they're not like mean. They don't come after you, but they fly around you, and they're big and they're nasty and they make noise and I just don't like them, right? And they have been out like crazy. Now, I have to admit, this last week, it's been a little bit better. But I like driving everywhere because y'all know I live out in the country. I'm telling you what, I hit so many of those things with my car and my windshield. It has almost become a game. Like, you guys remember when I told you back in the day, we used to hit lightning bugs with a baseball bat, like at night? Like, that was fun. And y'all, I still hands down think that's fun. That is kind of the same feeling I get when I hit these cicadas with my car. And I'm not hitting them with my car so much as they are flying into my car. But I have hit them like crazy. And it kind of brings me that same joy as hitting the lightning bugs with bats. And I don't know what kind of person that makes me other than I just have to admit, you guys, that's what it does. Because these things are nasty and it's affected me because when I'm in a parking lot, if there's a tree, I will not park by it because I'm like, no, because there's going to be cicadas in that tree and I am not having a cicada bump into me. And they do, and they make noise. Now, another good part, and I know, if you have interest in bugs, okay, then I'm so sorry because this will hurt your feelings, but I also love it when these birds be dive bombing these cicadas. I mean, it's been interesting to watch. I was at mom's house and I think we saw a couple birds. I mean, they just be flying, swooping in and getting them. And I'm like, yes, please. So if nothing else, even though I'm not enjoying the cicadas, these birds are definitely enjoying them. So I'm like, shout out to the birds. You guys are my friends this summer. Definitely appreciate you and all that you eat. And so, yes, so that's just a random note that I wrote was that I'm tired of the cicadas. I do think they're starting to go away. I've been hitting them with my car and I like it when I hit them with my car and I like it when the birds eat them. And that is it. And there are so many that are also dead on the ground. Have you guys noticed? Like I said, I don't know where you live. So I don't know if you have an issue with cicadas. I don't know if it's countrywide or whatever, but y'all, I'm done with these cicadas, which I think I saw somewhere on Facebook. So, grain of thought. I saw somewhere on Facebook they should be like dying out and be by the end of this month and then like good to go for the next however many years it takes for them to grow again. So I'm like, okay, like that's as long as they're like done, I'm done. Because it's been making going outside not near as pleasant. I haven't wanted to go to like an outdoor mall. Not that I had a reason to, but I'm definitely like, okay, I don't want to be outside while these cicadas are buzzing around and flying around. So I do hope that they are done. Again, I'm glad that they aren't really aggressive, I think. They haven't attacked me. If I've seen one, it's kind of nice that they move kind of slow because I've been able to dodge them pretty quickly and easily. But yeah, I'll be glad when they're gone for a while. Okay, so then another thing that I've done this week, because, being out of school and all, yay! Sorry to rub it in. I've been able to catch up with a friend and we went to this place called House of Marigold. Okay. And this is a brunch place, one of those girly brunch places that, it's just the vibe, right? And I have to admit, it was a vibe. It was so cute. It was very, busy, but not too busy. Unlike Texas Roadhouse, I got to sit down right away pretty much. But the parking was a little tight because I think they're either they're growing in popularity or we just hit them at a busy time. Of course, during their lunch brunch time. And was there when it was pretty busy and packed, but it was very cute, very, very girly, right? And now they had this thing called the Seville's egg plate, right? And it was this really long plate that had deviled eggs on it. I think 3 eggs, so 6 deviled eggs, if you can picture that, and different things you could put on it. Like they had shredded cheese, they had the chives, they had, I think, everything bagel seasoning and bacon bits, and I think that was it. So if you just imagine a really long plate, a long skinny plate that had those 6 deviled eggs and then the different sides that you can put on it. I saw the picture and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get one. Because I like eggs. I enjoy deviled eggs. And I was expecting them to taste like, there's this one place, I think it was Connor's Steakhouse, and their deviled eggs are phenomenal. The flavor is so good. The bacon, oh my goodness, it's just so good. So that's kind of what I was expecting. That is not what I got. I'd have to say, so this place, beautiful atmosphere, great atmosphere, cozy vibes, girly vibes, food, it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, nothing really like shocked me into, ooh, this is good. Now, some of their stuff looked really good. For example, my friend, she got their honey biscuit chicken thing, and that looked amazing. And she gave me a bite of her chicken, and the chicken tasted pretty good, if I do have to say so myself. So it could just be what I ordered, because that chicken did taste good. So if I went back, because I totally would go back, okay? So it wasn't bad, so I would not go back. It didn't impress me as much the food didn't impress me as much as I anticipated, but there were other things on the menu that looked really good that I didn't get a chance to try. So, for example, that honey biscuit chicken thing. So imagine like these big old chunks of chicken, kind of like the kind you get when you get chicken and waffles at like Joella's. So these big old chunks of seasoned chicken, and they're inside this big old biscuit with honey drizzled on top of the biscuit and the chicken. Looked good, right? So that's what she got. I got biscuits and gravy, which their biscuits look amazing, and their biscuits taste pretty good. They're a little on the doughy side, which I prefer, so they're not like hard, but they're big, fluffy, and then the gravy part of it, it was the sausage gravy. It wasn't bad. I wanted a little more seasoning. But I ate it all. Y'all best believe I cleaned my plate of that though. So it must not have been too bad, right? But it was good. I did eat that. And then I got one of their kind of homemade Pop-Tarts to go. It was a cinnamon one, and that was pretty good too. So I would definitely go back. It was, like I said, it wasn't the most amazing thing that I ever had, but it wasn't bad. But what made it really great was, of course, the company as well. So I went with a friend of mine, and we try to hang out probably like once or twice a year. And if we see each other more than that, it's a blessing, because she's just a great person, a good friend of mine. And so we went there. We were able to catch up on stuff. I think we're going to plan to meet one more time before the summer. She works in the school system as well, and so we both are enjoying this kind of time off before we have to, hit it back hard again. But it was great catching up and talking about the family and things and just life. And you guys, if there's a friend you haven't caught up with in a while, go ahead and make that date. Okay. I know it's hard. I know it's tough, but it's totally worth it in the end. So go ahead and do that, because it will be good for your soul, right? Okay. So we did that House of Marigold, again, is what that was called. Cute place, cute place. I would suggest it if you want to try it, at least try it. But the other thing is, so my husband has been out of town. I don't know. And so that means that I've been having to fend for myself when it comes to food and cooking. Now, have I gone out to eat a lot? Yes. Have I eaten Indian food maybe 5 times in the last 2 weeks? Yes. But have I cooked some? Yes, I have. And I mean, let me tell you what I've cooked, and you can tell me if I've really cooked or not. I made tacos one night. I made fajitas another night. I made this chicken pasta dish that a friend of mine taught me how to make. When I was talking about the 5 ingredients or less, she sent this to me, and so I made that, and I've made that twice now. And let's see, and what else did I make? I think, y'all, I'm like, surely I've made other things. That might be about it. Oh, I did make some soy sauce chicken. I call it soy sauce chicken because literally all I put in it was soy sauce and the chicken. And then I was like, I need something a little sweet. So I added some hoisin sauce, and that's it. And then I put it over rice and put soy sauce on the rice. And that was, that was my meal. But anyway, and I have been making omelets. Those have been a thing. And so in my omelet, which you guys, omelets are great. Okay, so what do y'all put in your omelets? Like if you were here, I'd be asking you, what do you put in your omelet? What kind of omelet do you like? The omelet that I have just my regular omelet, and then I put cheese on it, cheese in the middle. I will put bacon bits if I have them. I'll cook some bacon and, break it up and put it in there. I chop up some peppers and sometimes onions. I didn't this time. Chop up some peppers, and then I will throw in some salsa in it and on top of. And you guys, it is so good. I know. First off, you might be thinking salsa. Yes, try salsa with your eggs. And if you can't imagine it with your scrambled eggs, it was good with scrambled eggs. At least try it with your omelet. Very delicious. You wouldn't think, but it is good. Something about it makes it good, which is funny because my mom, she'll do ketchup on eggs. I'm like, that's disgusting. I'm like, that's so gross, but I think it's kind of the same vibes. um, but at the same time different because I'm not a huge ketchup fan anyway. And so I would definitely say try salsa with your eggs. Because it's just good. I liked it. So I've made that like 3 or 4 times. And so I've been doing that. And one thing I found that I do, and I'm wondering if any other home chefs do this, is so I had to chop up some peppers and I already had some like cut, but I didn't have them chopped up. So instead of getting a chopping board, I just flipped over my plastic lid and I used that to chop up stuff. And I've done that like 3 times. And I'm like, does anybody else do that? Do you always get out the cutting board to chop your vegetables? Or do you maybe you just use the lid of the plastic container that you already have your peppers and onions in? Am I crazy? Like, should you not do that? I assume you're not supposed to really because you don't want to mess up your tops of things, but I don't, I'm not cutting it too hard, and so I'm just like, it just saves time and I don't have to get out the chopping board because I was getting that out for a bit there and I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm tired of cleaning this chopping board. So anyway, chef's question for my home chefs out there: do you use the lids for chopping up stuff? But anyway, so another thing that I tried was, so while Hubs was gone, I got to be in charge of our Kroger delivery. And I was like, ooh, I get to get the stuff that I want. And I went to Kroger and I actually got this. I didn't get the delivery because it's ice cream. And I was like, it's not going to work. Ice cream and I, for the most part, don't get along. I love it. So don't get me wrong. It just doesn't love me. My body doesn't like it. I don't know how to describe. So I like the taste of it. And then my stomach's like, what is this? So ice cream and I don't always get along. Sometimes it does. Dairy Queen ice cream I can do, and homemade ice cream I can do. Grater's ice cream and, what's the other one? I cannot do. It'll get me super sick. So, but I was like, okay, most like lactose things I don't want to do. I went to Kroger and I saw this ice cream that was like dairy-free, lactose-free, and it was like plant-based, but it was cookie dough. And y'all know cookie dough is my favorite. If you don't know, it's my favorite. Cookie dough, mixed with, but you gotta feel free to add some brownie bites, feel free to add some peanut butter bites, all of it. But if I had, if they didn't have anything with all 3 of them, I would go for the cookie dough. And so it was a cookie dough plant-based ice cream. I can't remember the name of it. But I was like, I'm going to try this. This might be weird. I don't know. I can't honestly picture plant-based ice cream. That sounds odd to me, unless it's made from almond milk or something, which almond peanuts, look, we're about to get into it. Peanuts are not plants. They are, what are they? Are they vegetables? Y'all, this makes me probably sound so ignorant. I don't know what peanuts are. I know they're protein. But anyway, so don't ask me how we get almond milk, okay? But anyway, so I got this plant-based ice cream and it ended up tasting pretty good. Pretty much like the real thing, and it didn't make my stomach hurt. So I think I might have to try that again. So if you've ever had a plant-based ice cream, let me know how that went. Or if you are like, well, duh, Phoebe, I'm already on this bandwagon. Let me know the best brands or the best kind, and maybe I can get some really good ones and have ice cream all that I want this summer without having to worry about my stomach throwing a fit. But anywho, okay, so that was my plant-based ice cream. I just want to throw that out there because one, I didn't even realize they existed. I was just walking up and down the aisles looking for something sweet, and I was like, oh, there's a plant-based ice cream. So that's out there if you've never heard of it. And if you have, like I said, throw me some good brands out there and I'll have to try it. But anyway, okay, so within the last couple weeks, like I said, so I've had time to do some stuff. I've been wanting to, y'all know I've been talking about it for a month now, work on my prayer room, okay? And so I have to tell you guys, I bought a wall mural. Now, this is what's hilarious. Okay, my husband, okay, this is so funny. Maybe it's funny. He doesn't know I bought this. He's trusted me. He's like, okay, I trust you to do what you want. With the prayer room, he gave me a generous allowance for it and was like, okay, you can spend this much roughly. Just be wise. And I was like, okay, thank you. So I bought this wall mural, and it is And you're like, what's that? So it's like this wallpaper that it's a peel and stick, and you put it on your wall, and it goes across the whole back wall of the prayer room. And I got it off Etsy, and my husband still hasn't seen it yet. He's been home for like a couple days, and he hasn't been in the prayer room yet because I'm like, it's not done, because I bought this coffee table off Facebook Marketplace, and I haven't put it down there yet because it's heavy and I need to find someone to carry it down there. And while I want my husband to help, I'm like, I don't know that I want my husband, because I want him to see my room as a finished product. Anyway, you guys, so right now it's in my car, but so I bought this wall mural, and it's really cool. We put it up, and I think it looks great. Of course, I'm a little bit nervous about my husband seeing it because he doesn't know that it's coming. And he is a little picky about stuff on the walls, but I think once he sees it, he'll be like, this is great. If he sees it and he says it's not great, I'll let you guys know. I'll be like, okay, guys, so I had to rip down the wallpaper and repaint the wall because it will rip off the paint. But hopefully I'll come back with you guys in the next couple weeks and be like, he loved it. So we're taking a chance here. But I have to say it looks pretty good. I showed it to my dad, and my dad thought it looked pretty good too. So like that gives me like, okay, it's not just a girly thing. Like my dad also thinks it looks pretty cool. And what it is, it's this scene of, because it was in the prayer room, I was like, okay, I want it to feel like nature-esque, because our room is in the basement, and it's like got no windows or anything, right? And so much of praying and stuff, I think it comes easier around nature. It's because it just reminds you of the majesty of God, right? And for me anyway. And so I was like, so I got this mural that shows like mountains in the distance, like a lake, some trees, like a field, but like it looks like you're there and like can see off into the distance. It looks pretty cool to me, okay? And so that covers the entire back wall. And so I'm very excited that it's up there. I really hope husband likes it. I will let you guys know next week or in the next couple of weeks on the next episode if he likes it or not. But I really hope he does. And I'm excited. So my mom is the one who helped me put it up. And okay, let me tell you guys this. If you're ever thinking about doing a full wall mural, so not just like a piece of artwork, or not just like a saying, because sometimes you can get those sayings, but like a full cover your whole wall, top to bottom, it's a lot of work. It came in 4 panels, okay? If you can picture that. Picture just a big old wall, and then 4 panels, because they have to ship it to you, I guess. And so you have to, line up your panels pretty much perfectly to try to get this thing to make it look good, right? And you need to have, let me just say, if you plan to ever do this, a full wall mural, you need at least 2 people, and one of them needs to be meticulous and needs to be precise and needs to not care about being meticulous and precise, and needs to not care how much time it takes. They're willing to put in the work to make it look good. Okay, one of you needs to be that person. Picture who that is between my mother and me. The other of you needs to be maybe more relaxed, needs to be like, if there's a mistake, there's a mistake, but be willing to do whatever it is the other person says that they need you to do. That would be mom. So thank God for my mom, who I would have even attempted to do this without my mother. Maybe with my sister, because she can be just as meticulous, but I would not have attempted to do this with me and my husband. No. Do not do it with your spouse. That will not end well, okay? But so even though he's meticulous, the personalities, it would not have ended well. But with my mom, and with her preciseness and her ability to problem solve, because we ran into some issues, we were able to get this thing up. And so thank you, Mom, because first off, like I said, I wouldn't have even attempted without my mom. So thank you, Mom, for this, because the only reason it looks good is because my mom did it. Because I'm like, it's a little crooked, it's fine. She's like, no, it's not fine. We're going to fix it. And I'm like, okay. It might be a little skewed here, but that's fine. No, let's fix it. Okay. And then knowing like, okay, well, let's do this panel first. Let's try this panel. Let's line up with this one. Just the idea of it and being able to problem solve and look at things. You got to have one person to at least do that. And then the one person to be like, hey, I need you to hold this. I got you. Hey, I need you to get the painter's tape ready. Yep, I got you. Like that. that was my purpose to be there for whatever you need, right? And my mom did a lot of it, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm very happy. I hope husband will be too. It is a lot of work, y'all. It was a lot of work, but once I get it together, I'll have to take a picture and show it to you guys so you can see. I'll post it on Instagram or something so you guys can see what it looks like. But it was pretty cool. It was fun. I was like, okay, this is kind of like, for me, other than buying regular furniture and stuff, like the first kind of major change I've made to my house since I moved in. And so I'm a little nervous about it, but I do think it will work out well. And I am excited that we did it. Now, I got to tell y'all this story. So with this major wall mural, you got to cut out your own little holes for your outlets, right? So my mom just went ahead and took charge of that. She unscrewed the thing, cut the little hole, put the cover back on, and then realized that she had lost the little white screw that goes in the middle of the outlet cover and on my carpet, right? And my carpet, you guys, it swallows things whole. I have seen it. I killed a fly once, like with the fly swatter, smacked it, it fell on the carpet. I watched it on the carpet, like I watched it fall. I knew exactly where it fell. I leaned down to pick it up with the fly swatter, not with my hand. And I tell you what, every time I reached for it with the fly swatter, it got deeper and deeper in the carpet to the point where I could not see the fly anymore. I knew it was there. I had just put it there. I literally had to like dig around with the fly swatter because, again, I wasn't going to touch with my hand before I found that thing again. And I was like, that fly straight got swallowed up by my carpet. What else is in this carpet? And I was like, and immediately like vacuumed. I'm vacuuming everything. But anyway, so I said that to say that white little screw got swallowed up in our carpet. And mom had joked about the only way we're going to be able to find it is if you walk around with no shoes on and you step on it. So, you guys, when I bent down to look at the corner of the mural, my knee went right on it. I was like, ow! and I found the screw. And I was like, well, here it is, Mom. Your theory works as much as it hurts. Like, ow. But we did find it. And so that was just one mishap. But another one was, okay, you guys. So my mom, to reach the top of the ceiling, right, we had a stool and we had a ladder so it was like a 3-step ladder, and mom would use that to like go up 3 steps and then cross over to the stool because it was a little bit taller to reach the ceiling part. So mom was on that. and she was about to step down, and when she went to step down, her foot went on the first step of the ladder. But she somehow must have missed it or something, and it just slid doop, 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 all the way down past the other 2 onto the ground. But she didn't lose her balance. So what ends up happening is mom is in this like midair, like the split, right? Because her left leg is still on the stool, and her right leg is all the way down to the ground. And she's doing this split, and she's fine because she starts laughing. I start laughing so hard because one, she's okay, but because there's my mom just in the split, like, and I was like, oh my goodness, and my mom was like, if I didn't do Pilates, this would have hurt me. And I was like, yes, it would have, because looking at it, that would have hurt me. And I'm 35, and yet somehow mom's sitting there doing the splits and she comes out okay. And I was dying. I was laughing so hard just to see mom in that position, just to see that happening, which I already think look, I know it's terrible, but you guys know those videos of people falling, like just falling down the stairs or falling from their house or something, not downstairs, but falling from their porch steps or something like that. Like those things kind of make me giggle. And so kind of seeing a mishap like that happen in real life made me laugh so hard. Now I'm glad mom's okay. I wouldn't have been laughing if she had really hurt herself. I might have, but then I would have stopped, but she was fine. And it just cracked me up. And I was like, yes, good thing that you have your Pilates and were able to do the splits comfortably without hurting yourself. As I would have, because I totally am not flexible in the least by any means. Y'all, I need to work on being, taking care of my body or something. Cause you think, for a while, young age, like youthfulness, gets you through a lot, right? You don't have to necessarily do active things, proactive things like Pilates and stretching and stuff like that to kind of keep your body limber because you're young, right? Youth does that for you. But as you start to age, I think that's part of aging. You got to get through that mindset of, oh, I'm going to be okay, because you're not, okay? You actually have to do some proactive things. And I say that because y'all tell me why. This past week, all right, I was just sitting in my room, just chilling. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't know if I had a book, my phone, or anything in my hands, but I was sitting in my room on my chair, and I sneezed 3 times consecutively, 3 times in a row. And I thought I was okay until less than 5 minutes later, I went to stand up and my neck and shoulder just like something like went like through. It started hurting so bad. And I was like, what did I do to my arm and my neck and my shoulder? I was like, what? Sneezing did that? I was like, what is this? And so I went to my mom because mom was there, and I was like, Mom. And I was like, I hurt, something. And I went and I used so I went to go get my massager, the one I bought off Amazon like a month or so ago. And I used that, and I don't think it helped. I think it might have made it a little worse. And I found across the next day or two that the only thing that made it feel better was literally lying flat on my back. The best time was flat on my back on the floor, either on my back, on my stomach, or maybe leaning on my arm, but like sitting hurt. Sitting, if I like leaned onto the armrest, hurt. Sitting in any type of position, slightly leaned back, hurt. Kind of, sometimes you're laying down, but you don't want to lay flat on your back, so you prop yourself up with pillows. Hurt. Standing, hurt. I was like, what did I do to myself? I have no idea. So, of course, I chat GPT to, my best friend AI. And I was like, what is this when you've hurt your neck and shoulder, that it hurts sitting and it hurts standing, but it does feel better when you're laying like flat. And it was like, it gave me a whole list of things it could be, but I think the one that matched the most was maybe like a sprained muscle somewhere in there. And basically they're like, do your exercises, physical therapy type exercises, give it, ice, give it heat, do all these things. I'm like, okay. And then give it time and rest. And I'm like, oh, great. And so that's what I've been trying to do. But you guys, it hurt so bad. I had my hematology appointment last Thursday. And when I was driving to it, I felt like the pain go down like my arm. It stopped by my elbow, but it went down my leg, like my driving leg, because it's this right side of my body. And so driving was very uncomfortable. When I got there, sitting in the waiting room was super uncomfortable. Like I could not shift around enough to try to get comfortable. And I'm sure I looked miserable. Like I was trying not to have it on my face, but I'm sure my face very much said, ow, this is uncomfortable. I don't feel good right now. Because people were giving me some pitying looks. And it was terrible. It was miserable. I told the doc about it. Now, they didn't really have much to say about it because they're the HEMA doctors, but yeah, it was terrible. It's starting to feel a little better now because it's almost been a week. I'm recording this on Monday, the Monday before it comes out. I know, like, ooh, right there. But, since I'm on summer break and don't have too much to do, I'm like, okay, I can wait till Monday. So I will record and edit all on the same day. But anyway, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but it's still like sitting hurts. Moving it around hurts a little bit. If I jerk my neck too quickly, it hurts. You guys, I'm like, all of this because I sneezed 3 times in a row. Like I need to do something. I need to start doing some stretches. I need to do something to take care of this body before it gives up on me. But yeah, so that was just the mishaps of putting up the wall mural, but it looks good. Again, I'll tell you guys how it goes down eventually. And I would try to post a picture of it as well. That was good. I had fun with that. So glad that mom was there to help me because it wouldn't have happened otherwise. Again, I do need to work on my body being healthier. Now I mentioned the hematologist. That was my old diner vibes. Nothing much to say there other than the first time I went. So not the past time when I'd hurt my arm, but the time before that. I did have experience with, so most of the people who are there, the patients they're just white people. I do see some black people. But this time I had interactions with some older black people. And I say that just because that's the reason I'm throwing it out there. Like I promise I will not share every hematology experience, but I do have to share this because y'all know it's my older peep stories. So I was just signing in, and one of the ladies who was just signing right before me was standing there, and another, so she was a black lady who was standing in front of me, and then there was a black lady who was coming from behind me out the door. It was her and her friend, and they were both black. So all of us there, all of us are black, okay? The reception lady, me, the older lady in front of me, and then the two ladies that were coming in. And they were like, oh, it's so good to see you. And your hair's just looking so good. And you're looking so good. And God is just so good. And that's when I was like, oh, I just love this. Like, I love this interaction. And I'm not saying that other cultures don't talk about God and or things like that openly. But this is just what I observed while I was there. And I was like, that's right. Like, we almost had a church service in there. She's like, God is good. He is good. I am 70. He is good. I am 71. He is. And then the high five just sealed it for me. I was like, yes. Yes, like as I get older, that's the type of person I want to be. I mean, here they are just saying that God is good, and they're in a doctor's office, right? Which means that not necessarily everything is going amazingly well, okay? And yet they're still being like, God is good. They're grateful for their ages. They were, feeling each other, high-fiving each other, I guess because they were close in age. Maybe just because they both agreed that God was good. I don't know, but it was just uplifting to see that and to experience that. And I was like, you know what? That's right. And I wanted to be like, God is good, but I stayed in my place. But it was very cool to see and encouraging to hear. Which makes me think, and I'm about to wrap it up here, that one of the things I wrote down is something that I've been working on and that I think sometimes we gotta practice is taking good news as good news. And I struggle with that sometimes, especially if you've been through something and you get good news and then you get bad news. And sometimes you can get good news and then you think, well, this is good, but you're just kind of waiting for bad news to happen, right? You're ready for the ball to drop. You're like, oh, this is great, but how long is this going to last, And so it can be really hard to kind of celebrate the good news when you hear it. And so I had good news. I was really concerned about some things, but I had gotten some good news. And I decided to share with a friend. And I was like, I'm really happy about this good news, but well, and my friend was like, but this is good news. Like, we got to celebrate this good news because this is good. And I'm like, it is really good. But what if no buts, but this is good. And I was like, okay. And so, I think that's something I feel like I said, I think a lot of people can probably relate to that is sometimes it's, you take good news, but sometimes you're like, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to manage it, make sure it doesn't get too exciting or whatever. Cause good news can very easily turn to bad news. Right. And while that is true, I'm not saying that's not true. Obviously it's very true. That doesn't mean it makes it reality, and it doesn't mean it's going to be true, for this particular situation. So it's kind of like, have you ever heard of like borrowed trouble? Kind of like, and I know that's kind of doing with borrowed trouble from like other people, but sometimes my pastor would sometimes say like, you can worry about it now, or you can worry about it later, and all you did was worry about it twice. Like you can worry about it up till it happens, and then you're going to worry about it once it happens, or you can worry about it up till it happens and it never happens, and all you did was worry for no reason, right? And that's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. But I do want to practice that. And I do pray that God will help me with that. That's something that I'm working on with him. Is taking good news as good news, right? And just kind of leaving it there. That is so hard, especially as a planner, as someone who thinks ahead, as someone who thinks in advance, as someone who considers herself quite logical and reasonable. I wouldn't say I am optimistic, but I wouldn't say I am pessimistic. I would say I'm realistic. That's what my dad says. But sometimes realism can look like pessimism, right? And if I'm going to be realistic, I'd rather be on the optimistic side of realism, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm working on. But it's just that taking that good news as good news. And sometimes, it's hard to do on your own. And that's why I throw out that I had a conversation with my friend, because when I was finding it hard to be optimistic, she was very optimistic and was able to hold that space for me. And her doing that made me feel like, okay, maybe I can be a little like I can buy into that. This is good news, just a little more, right? Enough to the point that I was comfortable. And so that's something that I would want to encourage you to do as well. Like if I can be that friend, I know I'm a voice on a podcast, but if I can just be that voice to say, hey, good news is good news, take it for good news, celebrate the good news, and if bad news comes, we will mourn and we will cry and we will be sad then. But when there's good news, we're going to be equally happy and excited and take that good news as well, right? Why give all the effort and energy and attention to the bad news and then just gloss over the good news, right? And so that's something, like I said, easier said than done. but it's definitely something that I'm working on, and that I will be praying about and working on with God, because I think it's something I'm gonna need Jesus to help me with, y'all. It does not come easy for me. For some people, it might. Staying positive might come easy for you. Please tell me how. But I'll plan to pray about that. And that book I was telling y'all about, Learned Hopefulness, that might help with that. That might be why it's also like the last book I want to read. No, I'm just kidding. But that is something that I thought about, and something that I want to do, and that I want to throw out there, that, hey, if you're a friend who is that positive person for another friend, stay positive. It's so helpful, because I tell you what, like, they're already thinking all the negative and worse things, right? So you might be thinking, I don't want to gloss over their feelings. I don't want to invalidate it. Oh, you're not invalidating it by being positive, right? Sometimes they need that. They need those words to cling to. At least I do. And so thanks to all my friends out there who have been positive, and to you guys out there, if you're positive to your friends, keep that positive energy. Celebrate that good news with them, even if they're kind of scared to celebrate it themselves, right? So anywho, so I thought I would throw that out there. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to share. There was a couple more things that I would throw out there very quickly, because I should have talked about them back then. But so the first thing, okay, actually I'll end on that one. The other first thing, which is technically the second thing, but I'm going to say it first, was that, okay, just a quick moment with how hot it has been outside. It has been hot. Y'all, it's been in the upper 80s and 90s. I don't know if that's hot for you, because a friend of mine from church, she's from Arizona. I think I always mix up with Arizona, Arkansas, but I'm pretty sure it's Arizona. And I was like, these 90s are hot. And she was like, hot? Have you even heard of hot? And I was like, that's true. Because apparently they could get to like the hundreds and something up there. So I was like, okay, I'm glad we're not that hot. So wherever you are, if that's your version of hot, picture that for this. This is how hot we feel, okay? So in these low 90s, y'all, it is hot out there. And having a garage makes you forget just how hot it is out there. Because when I leave my house, I'm like, it's not too bad. Y'all, once my car has been in the sun for a while, I have become spoiled with the garage. But going anywhere and sitting in the parking lot and then coming back out and your car is just hot. And I was like, oh my goodness, I miss my garage. I wish I could carry a garage around with me, which I guess technically would be those like sun things that you can put in your window. I'm always rushing, so I feel like I never have time to do that. But anywho, I just thought I'd throw that out there. And now the last thing that I wanted to share is that you guys, and I'm saying this because we're now officially in summer. We hit our summer solstice. We've had our longest day of the year. I believe it was Saturday, 21st. So now the days will be getting shorter. We won't feel it much until later, but we hit our longest day of the year, right? But that being said, I'm not ready to talk fall. I'm not ready to go there yet, because fall means I'm back in school, back at work. Not in a bad way. I love fall. Don't get me wrong. But tell me why. So I go into Hobby Lobby, and y'all already know what I'm going to say. You already know. And all I want to express is how frustrating I was when I walked into Hobby Lobby. So I go into Hobby Lobby trying to find stuff with my mom to decorate my prayer room with. And all I see is fall, and like every aisle. And I know people always joke, like, it gets earlier every year. You guys, y'all, I was hurt. I was so hurt. I was so mad. I was like, but I still have stuff I want to buy for the summer. Like, my brain isn't ready for summer until it's summer. What do you mean? I am not going into Hobby Lobby thinking about fall right now. I'm thinking about my summer. Now, I understand for people who for jobs, who decorate for a living, they got to plan in advance, or etc., or have big old homes that they want to get ready. No, I am just now trying to get my summer stuff ready. I'm trying to get my little prayer room ready. Like, I needed to get a new centerpiece for my table, and I wanted to be yellow, bright, and cheery. And all I could find was the beautiful oranges and yellows of fall. But that's what it was. I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. I just now switched out my fall and spring clothes, like literally this week. And y'all, I wasn't ready. And I was with my mom, and every time I walked down the aisle that had fall, I was like, ah, I would just say that. I was like, ah, ah. And when I said ah, like 20 times, like every aisle was fall, and it was so disheartening. Y'all know I love my seasons, but I love to experience the seasons as they are. Like, I'm not trying to get through summer yet. Like, I get it's hot, but that's part of it. Like, I gotta feel the heat in order to appreciate the coolness of fall, right? Like, I'm so not ready. I was so mad. I was like, what is this? What is this? So anyway, that was my only last thing. I know I wanted to end on, good news is good news and take it for good news. Because I meant to share this when I was talking about my prayer room. But I guess we're going to end on, let's enjoy the summer for the summer that it is. We are not going into fall. I am not saying anything else fall related, other than I do have to throw out there that I did make Mom and me a s'more in the oven this past week. So while s'mores may seem fall related, s'mores are good snacks at any time. But anyway, so anywho, that's all I have to say about that. I'm glad it's summer. It may be hot, but we're going to enjoy it. I'm not a pool person because I don't swim. I can doggy paddle and I can swim like 2 feet in front of me, but I don't really like to get in the water. But I feel like I need to do something. I need to plan a summer something to feel good about, like staying home this summer. But like, I don't know, maybe like a water fight. Those are fun, like water balloons, water guns. Oh my goodness, you know how much fun it would be. But the only thing is that can get messy real quick if you're outside in like the mud and stuff. I don't know, all these things I think about. Anywho, or maybe I would just plan lots of wonderful. I've already started thinking about restaurants that I want my husband to take me to that are local. Like, I'm trying to think of all the fun local things to do because there's so much to do within your city. You just got to look for it, I'm sure. But anywho, that's for another day. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I hope your next couple of weeks go very well. I hope mine do too. And yeah, have a fantastic next couple of hot summer weeks, and I will catch y'all then.